Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the program. Today we're going to talk about this new archaeological find out of northern Spain called the Hand of Irulagi. I think that's how you say it. It's a late Iron Age artifact which was found in 2021, so very, very recent, in Navarre, Spain, in what is now Pamplona, and in ancient Roman times, Pompeii. Here it is in relation to the Roman Empire. You can see this lime green area, not to be confused with this northern part here, which is part of the Aquitaine tribe, if I'm not mistaken. But over here in northern Spain, you can see the extent of the area. And you can see here, they're known as the Vascones here in this map, which is post-Roman Empire. This is during the Visigoth, when the Visigoths came in. And still you can see they have their own territory to some extent. So the artifact belongs to the Vascones or Vasones or Vascii, Los Vascos, depending on who you ask. They come, there's a lot of different names that they're associated with. They are an Iron Age tribe that uses the ancient version of modern Basque, which is called Euskera, which previously they were thought illiterate and only became so through the Romans in the 1st century. And this is the artifact in question here. It's a bronze hand that is supposed to be facing down, and you can see a hole here, so that it was probably hung on a wall or in a house of the mud brick house that it was found in. And the artifact itself dates to between 80 to 72 BC, which is right around the time the Romans started their influence, so to speak, in the area, right around the turn of the century. There are dozens of strange symbols carved into it, so you can see here, and the main focus is on this first line, which is transliterated as Sorio Neku, which is echoed in the present-day Basque language by the widely used Zorio Neku, which is a compound word meaning of good fortune. So the link was glaring to the researchers and the linguists who were deciphering it. And the symbols that were on there's about 40 of them in total. The symbols belong to the Proto-Basque language and are its oldest written examples on record. And Javier Velaza, who is the guy who was part of the deciphering team, he says that people spoke the language of the Vascones in the area. The inscriptions were found, and they used writing to set down their language. So it was previously thought, this is kind of a head scratcher to me. I don't really understand this, but it was previously thought that they only used the written language to mint new coins, because I guess the Romans wanted them to use their approved currency or whatever. Other than that, they were thought to have never used a written language anywhere else. But clearly, this is an everyday use item. This is probably hung over a doorway or something. And the site itself is interesting because it survived only because it was burned and abandoned during this conflict known as the Sertorian War during the Roman times. So everything that was in it had already burned down and was forgotten about in the wake of this conflict. So I think one researcher put it was a snapshot of the moment of the attack. So it's very unique evidence, and this discovery itself really only tells us that the people in the area spoke and wrote this language. But again, it's completely turns the previous, I guess you can call it a paradigm, or the previous knowledge that they were largely illiterate, and that now the linguists that are in that field have hard evidence that they haven't had until now. So that's a pretty big deal. Especially since we're talking about a people who already are shrouded in mystery. There's, it kind of lends more credence to everything surrounding this ancient language, the Basque people, and the ancient people who preceded them that spoke this language that was not in the Indo-European family. And people have cited genetic connections in addition to these linguistic and cultural ones to Atlantis. So we have this Microsoft Paint image that I made You have so if you ask certain people who have extensive knowledge of the ancient Atlanteans, then they'll tell you that there is some type of diaspora that centers around most likely the Azores, right? This is one. I know there's a ton of these theories. This is just one theory that I'm just tossing out there because it seems pretty relevant to the mystery that surrounds the Basque people, among others. So you have this diaspora with the Azores as the center of Atlantis. Atlantis sinks. The people go in all these different directions. Three of the directions that people link up with the Rh negative blood and the linguistic similarities are the people of the Canary Islands, the Guanches, the Amazigh people of Morocco, northern Morocco, and then the Basque people of northern Spain. And then there are some other ones, some other legends too, of them going west toward the North American continent or the Americas rather, and to Egypt, and then even Ireland. I don't know too much about these other ones, but I do know that these three here that I mentioned before in off the Canary Islands in Morocco and northern Spain, that there have been other links in alternative sources of information. So anyway, that about does it for this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think this is a pretty interesting find, and for people who are interested in linguistics, I think it's very interesting and it's exciting because, again, this is hard evidence that has broken a drought for a while, especially in this small linguistic area of the Basque and the Vascones people.